The moment I laid eyes on her, I knew she was the one. It wasn't love at first sight, not really. It was something else, something deeper, a feeling I couldn't quite explain. I was 27, fresh off my first major promotion, and the world was mine to conquer. My dream had always been simple: to own a classic Shelby 500. The roar of the engine, the sleek lines of the body, it wasn't just a car to me, it was a statement, a symbol of everything I'd worked for. After years of paying off student loans and working weekends at the auto shop, I finally had enough to buy one, not just any Shelby, either, but a 1967 Highland Green model. It wasn't perfect when I found it, but it was mine. The previous owner had let it sit in a barn for 20 years, too strapped for cash to restore it. The engine barely turned over, the interior was a mess, but I saw potential. I negotiated hard, 22,000, every penny I had saved up. The thought of my parents' reaction made me hesitate for just a second, but I didn't care. This car was my reward, my symbol of independence. Of course, when I told them about the purchase, my dad raised an eyebrow. "Dang, a broken down old car?" he asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. "For that kind of money?" But I didn't need their approval. For once, I didn't care what they thought. I had a vision. I had a plan. The next 3 years were a blur. Every weekend, I spent hours working on her, sourcing original parts from collectors, learning metalwork to fix the quarter panels, and painstakingly rebuilding the V8 engine by hand. Frank, the auto shop owner, became my mentor. I spent long nights at his shop, learning everything from carburetors to negotiation. "A man's reputation is built on keeping his word," Frank always said. "Your handshake should be as binding as any contract." And at the time I took her out for the first drive, I felt like I had finally earned something that was all mine. The engine roared to life, the vibration beneath my hands felt like applause. It was more than a car. It was the culmination of everything I had worked for: the late nights, the sacrifices, the years of saving every cent. For the first time in my life, I was proud of something that belonged only to me. But of course, my family didn't see it that way. My parents always favored Amanda, my younger sister. She was the one who could do no wrong in their eyes. The one who, despite constantly shifting careers, dance, photography, fashion, event planning, always had their support. They poured money into her every whim, no questions asked. I wasn't the irresponsible one, not by a long shot, but they never understood my obsession with cars. To them, it was just a hobby, a waste of time. And Amanda, she was their dreamer, the one who needed help every time she hit a bump in the road. I worked my ass off to put myself through college, balancing classes with 2 jobs. My parents paid for Amanda's tuition, though she never stayed in school long enough to finish a degree. By the time I graduated, Amanda had already dropped out twice, jumping from one failed passion project to the next. She never had to face the same financial realities I did. It was like I was invisible to them, the responsible one who always had it together. And still, I did it all. I climbed my way up in the business world, moving entry-level sales to senior director of international development. I wasn't the show-off, the one who needed constant praise. I was the one who kept my head down, who made sacrifices without complaint. I made the deals, I signed the contracts, and I didn't ask for recognition. And nothing, and not even my family's judgment, could take it from me. I wanted to prove something to myself, if no one else. This car, this Shelby, was everything I'd worked for. It wasn't just a machine. It was my independence, my values, my legacy. So when I told them I was going to Europe to finalize a 14 million deal with a German manufacturing conglomerate, my parents smiled. They were proud for once. But the conversation quickly shifted to Amanda's latest business idea, a boutique. My mom couldn't stop gushing about it, practically begging me to give her some money to help her get started. "It's more than interesting, honey," my mom insisted, her eyes wide with excitement. "It's going to be her breakthrough." I nodded, not wanting to get into it. I didn't care about her boutique. Not then. My focus was on the deal I was closing in Europe, my chance to make a real name for myself. As I stood up to leave, my mom said something that stuck with me. "You know, Amanda's really been through a lot. She needs our support." I didn't respond. But the words stayed with me, Michael, in my head as I boarded the plane. My dream was finally within reach. I had a plan, a future, and a car that represented all the sacrifices I had made to get here. But little did I know, errands were about to take my car away from me. The moment I landed in Frankfurt, the adrenaline hit me. I set out to finalize the largest deal of my career, a partnership worth 14 million. The Germans had seen the value in what I was offering, and my straightforward approach had won them over. This wasn't just a career milestone, it was a validation of everything I'd worked for. It meant something bigger, something more than just a paycheck. It meant respect. I could feel the weight of that in every handshake, every track clause. Ankle out of excitement could drown out the nagging voice in the back of my head. A voice that kept asking if this was all worth it. Worth the hours spent away from home, worth the sacrifices I'd made. Worth the car, his Shelby, sitting in my garage untouched, waiting for my return. I knew I couldn't let it sit there forever. I had worked too hard to restore it. But for now, my focus was on closing the deal. The car could wait. That night, Jessica. She was always the calm in the storm, the one who kept me grounded, especially when my mind raced with 1,000 things at once. "How's everything back home?" I asked, trying to sound casual, but she could hear the tension in my voice. "I'm good. Just checking in on the house." "How's Frankfurt?" She replied, "Going well. We're finalizing the terms, just a few details left," I said, hoping my words would sound as confident as I felt. Wasn't lying, things were going well, but it wasn't the same as being there. I wanted her with me, by my side. "I miss you," she added, the words simple but heavy with meaning. "I miss you too. I'll be home soon." As I hung up, a part of me longed to be back, but I knew I couldn't rush it. Not now. Not when everything I'd worked for was finally within reach. The next few days passed in a blur. Meetings, contracts, negotiations, everything was moving at lightning speed. And on the third day of my trip, Jessica called again. This time, I could tell something was wrong. "Grant, something's happened," she said, her voice shaky. I felt a tightness in my chest. "What is it? What's going on?" "Eat your car," she hesitated. "I went over to check on things, and I think something's wrong." My mind went straight to worst-case scenarios. Is someone in the house? Did someone break in? No, it's not that. But, Grant. I froze. "What do you mean gone?" I went to the garage to check on it, and it wasn't there. The garage door was open. "The Shelby, it's just gone." I stood up, my heart pounding in my ears. This had to be a mistake. "Are you sure? Did you call the police?" "I'm sure. I called them. But they said they couldn't do anything without proof it was stolen." I don't know what happened." "I'm sorry. Jessica," I interrupted, trying to keep my voice steady. "Do you think it was a break-in? Is there any sign of forced entry?" "No break." Once she paused. "Your mom called me this morning. She said they took the car, Grant. Your parents, they took it." The world tilted beneath me. "What do you mean they took it? They don't even have keys." "I had know all the details. But your mom said they were moving it for safekeeping while you're gone. Something about the garage not being secure enough, but..." I cut her off, my mind racing. "And they didn't call me. They didn't tell me what they were doing. They just took my car." But calling them, they didn't answer. "Grant, I don't know what to do." I hung up, my hands shaking. I couldn't process it. My parents had taken my car, my dream, my Shelby. They knew how much it meant to me. They liked to know. I walked out of the hotel room, ignoring the worried glances of the German executives who were waiting for me in the lobby. I could barely focus on their polite greetings. Everything in me was consumed by the thought of my car, of my family's betrayal. How could they take it, without even asking, without telling me? I pulled my phone from my pocket and tried calling my parents. The call went straight to voicemail. I dialed again. No answer. I left a message, my voice low and controlled, though I could feel the anger rising inside me. "We need to talk about my car now." But deep down, I knew they weren't going to answer. I had a sickening feeling that they had already made their decision, and they didn't care about the consequences. I returned to the conference room, trying to keep my face neutral as I sat down across from the German executives. They looked at me with concern, sensing something was off. "Is everything okay, Mr. Harris?" one of them asked. I forced a smile, nodding. "Everything's fine, just a personal matter." But nothing felt fine. The room spun around me. My mind kept going back to the empty space in my garage, to the betrayal I couldn't quite grasp yet. Felt like a physical blow. They had taken my car. For what? To help Amanda. I had to get back. I had to find out what had happened. The deal could wait. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong as I boarded the flight home. Frankfurt was behind me now, and every mile that passed, the weight in my chest grew heavier. I should have been elated, closing a deal worth $14 million, something I'd worked my whole career for. But all I could think about was the Shelby, sitting somewhere I couldn't control. My mind kept racing over what Jessica had told me. My parents had taken it. They'd taken my car. I needed to get home. I needed to know what had happened. But more than that, I needed answers. Why had they done it? Hadn't they called? Why hadn't they respected the one thing that was truly mine? The flight was long, and when I finally landed, I didn't even bother to pick up my bags. I called Jessica the moment I got off the plane, my voice tight with frustration. "I'm here. I'll there in 30 minutes. When I arrived at the house, I could already feel the weight of it. The silence. The fact that Jessica hadn't said much since I hung up. When she opened the door, I could see the dark circles under her eyes, the weariness that matched my own. She gave me a tight hug, but there was no comfort in it, not now. "Tell me everything," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. The tension in the air was thick, almost suffocating. Jessica led me to the living room, sitting me down. She didn't waste time, getting straight to the point. 2 days ago, I went to check on your house, like I said I would. Everything seemed fine. Well, then I noticed something strange. Your garage door was slightly open. I felt my stomach tighten and I pulled in and saw your parents outside. They were talking to a truck driver. Asked what was going on, and your mom said they were moving the Shelby to their house for safekeeping while you were gone. Safekeeping? I echoed, the anger rising in my chest. They didn't call me. They didn't even mention it. We didn't. I argued with them, Grant. I told them they needed to call you first, but your dad was convincing. He said they'd already spoken to you, that it was a family matter. The words hung in the air like a heavy fog. I matter? Couldn't wrap my head around it. That's not a family matter. That's theft. I know, she said, her voice strained. I tried calling you right then, but they wouldn't let me. And then I found those photos. Photos? I asked, confused. Jessica pulled out her phone and opened Amanda's Instagram. There it was, Amanda, standing in front of her boutique, smiling widely, holding a giant pair of scissors as she cut the ribbon. My stomach dropped. It wasn't the photos that bothered me so much, it was the caption. Dreams coming true. So grateful for the unconditional support of family who believe in me, Jessica read aloud, her voice sharp with disbelief. I stared at the screen, my pulse pounding in my ears. The photo wasn't what I expected. I thought of the car, sitting somewhere, waiting to be returned to me. And now, Amanda, my sister, the one who couldn't hold down a job or stick to anything, was smiling in front of her boutique. Aimed me like a punch in the gut. There's more, Jessica said softly. I scrolled through her stories. She posted another one today. The next image made my blood run cold. There, hanging from Amanda's hand, was the key to my Shelby, the one I had custom made with a Shelby Cobra keychain, the one that had never left my side, until now. I stood up, my fists clenched. This can't be happening. This is insane. I need to talk to them. My voice cracked with the weight of the betrayal. So sorry, Grant, Jessica whispered. I really am. But I don't think they're going to listen. I don't care, I snapped, the anger bubbling to the surface. I'm going to make them listen. I grabbed my phone again, but this time, and in call my parents. I texted them, short and to the point, we need to talk about my car now. I didn't wait for a reply. There wouldn't be one. There never was when I needed one. I walked out of the house, my mind spinning. I drove to my parents' place with the kind of cold resolve that only comes when you're about to confront the people who are supposed to love you but have let you down in the worst possible way. I couldn't believe I was here, in the place where I had grown up, about to face the people who'd always told me I was the responsible one. I'd always done what they asked. Always played by the rules, but now, it felt like that was all for nothing. I was them being the obedient son, the one who let them get away with everything. I pulled into their driveway, my hands tight on the wheel. The house looked the same white siding, same neatly trimmed lawn. It should have felt familiar, comforting even. But all I could feel was anger. I rang the doorbell. My mother opened it, smiling, as if nothing was wrong. Timothy, you're back. I didn't know you were coming by. Why didn't you call me? I asked, my voice low and controlled. Why didn't you take my car? She blinked, taken aback by the question, but I could see the flicker of guilt in her eyes. Oh, honey, we didn't want to disturb you while you were away. We thought we were just doing you a favor. The garage wasn't secure enough, so we moved it for safekeeping. Safekeeping, I repeated, feeling the words burn in my throat. You had no right to take it, Mom. You had no right to use it as collateral for Amanda's loan. Her face shifted, but she didn't apologize. She didn't even seem sorry. Well, Amanda needed it more than you do. I froze. Those words, the ones that had followed me throughout my life, echoed in my ears. You've always said that, I said quietly. Always made excuses for her, but you've never once treated me like I mattered more than her. Her face softened, but it was too late. I was done with excuses. Where is it? I demanded. Where's my car? My mother's face softened as she looked at me, but it was the kind of softness that didn't hold any real remorse. It was just a precaution. Timothy, we didn't think you'd mind. Amanda really needs this business to work. You know how much she's struggled. I could feel my chest tightening, the rage bubbling just beneath the surface. You thought I wouldn't mind. I repeated, my voice flat. You thought it was okay to take my car without asking me. She opened her mouth to respond, but I didn't let her. You've done this my whole life, haven't you? I continued, my words coming faster now, sharp with anger. You've always made excuses for Amanda. She's always the one who needs more. I was the responsible one. The one who had to work for everything I had. But you didn't care about that, did you? You just let her walk all over me. And now you've stolen my car for her latest project. I could feel my pulse in my temples, my body trembling with frustration. My father was silent in the background, not even trying to intervene. I didn't even want to look at him. I don't want to hear any more about how she needs things more than I do. I spat. I worked for years to restore that car. Every penny I saved, every weekend I sacrificed, it was for that car. And now you've just handed it over like it's nothing. My mother stepped back, her expression tight. It's not like that, Timothy. You don't understand. Amanda needs this business to succeed. She's finally found something she cares about. Something that could actually give her a future. I shook my head, disbelief and anger mixing in a way that felt almost dizzying. You think using my car as collateral is going to help her? You think this is what she needs? A loan she can't pay back, taking something from me that I've worked my entire life for. Calm down, my father's voice cut through the tension. We're doing what we thought was best for the family. Amanda's business is a chance for her to stand on her own, to make something of herself. You've made your own success, Timothy. You don't need that car anymore. I blinked at him, incredulous. I don't need the car. I repeated, my voice shaking with anger. You're telling me that after everything I've done, after everything I've sacrificed, I don't need the one thing that represents everything I've worked for. They looked at me as if I was overreacting. And if feel the years of resentment rushing to the surface, years of being told I was the responsible one, the one who didn't need anything extra. I had always been the one to give, to support, to sacrifice, but it never stopped. No matter how much I did, no matter how much I worked, it was never enough. My mother's voice was softer now, almost pleading. We didn't mean to hurt you, Timothy. We just thought that if we could help Amanda get her business started, it would make things easier for all of us. You have your career, your house. Amanda's still trying to find her way. She needs more help than you do. Stop saying that, I snapped. Stop saying she needs more help than I do. I've been helping her my whole life. I've been giving, sacrificing. And this is how you repay me. By taking something that was mine and giving it to her. My father shifted uncomfortably. We didn't take it from you, son. We just moved it. It's not like we sold it. Once the business takes off, you'll get it back. The words hit me like a slap. You really think it's that simple? You think you can just take my car and hand it back when it's convenient for you? That car is worth more than the loan you've put on it. You've put me in a position where I have to fight to get it back. And I'm going to do just that. My mother's face turned pale, and I could see the guilt finally creeping in. But it didn't change anything. We thought we were doing the right thing, she whispered. No, I replied, my voice hard. You were doing what was easiest. You didn't think about me, about what that car means to me. You never do. Amanda finally spoke, her voice filled with a defensive edge. It's just a car, Timothy. You can always buy another one. This boutique is my dream. This is my chance to do something with my life. You can't just hold on to your old car forever. I turned to face her, fury rising in my chest. It's not just a car, Amanda. It's everything. It's the years of work, the blood, sweat and tears I put into making something of myself. You think you can just take that because you have a dream? I've been helping you my whole life, bailing you out every time you failed. But this is crossing a line. She rolled her eyes, the frustration in her voice unmistakable. You're being dramatic, it's just a car. We'll pay you back, don't worry. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. You think that makes it okay? That you'll just pay me back and everything will be fine? You took something that was mine. Something that was never yours to begin with. Mad you're going to fix it with money. Amanda crossed her arms, her posture defiant. It's not like we sold it, okay? We're trying to make something of ourselves, and if you really cared about us, you'd see that. I stepped back, my heart pounding in my chest. You've been asking for my help your entire life, Amanda, but you never really cared about what I needed. You never cared about what I've worked for. This isn't just about the car anymore. It's about the fact that you've always taken, always expected, and I'm done. I turned toward the door, my mind made up. I'm going to get my car back. And when I do, you'll know exactly what it means to cross a line. I heard my mother call my name as I walked away, but I didn't turn around. It was too late for apologies. Too late for anything other than the truth. I drove away from my parents' house, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. I could feel the weight of the confrontation still hanging in the air, thick and suffocating. My heart was racing, and my head was full of nothing but questions and anger. How could they do this? How could they just take my car, my dream, and treat it like it was nothing? And even know where I was going, just driving in a daze. I could feel the exhaustion creeping in, but it wasn't the physical kind. It was the emotional kind, the kind that made your chest tight and your throat dry. I wanted to scream, to throw something, but I knew that wouldn't help. No, this was a problem that needed to be dealt with methodically, carefully. If there was one thing I'd learned in my career, it was how to handle a crisis without losing control. When I finally pulled into the driveway, I was numb. Jessica was already waiting for me, sitting on the front steps, her face drawn and tired. She didn't say anything when I got out of the car. She didn't have to. She saw the look on my face, the same anger and frustration that mirrored her own. Did you talk to them? She asked softly. I nodded. Yeah, I talked to them. And I'm done. I'm done with their excuses, done with their bullshit. Grant, I'm so sorry, she said, her voice breaking. I know how much that car means to you. I ran a hand through my hair, pacing in front of her. It's not just the car, Jess. It's everything. My whole life, I've been the one who had to do the right thing, and been the one who worked, who sacrificed. And Amanda gets everything handed to her. And now they've taken the one thing that I had for myself. The one thing that was mine. Do you know where it is? She asked, cutting through the noise of my thoughts. I paused, turning to face her. I know exactly where it is. It's at Liberty Pawn. She didn't ask how I knew that. She could probably tell from the way my voice shook with certainty. What are you going to do? I'm going to get it back, I said. The words, coming out of my mouth with a finality that surprised me. I'm going to make them understand that they can't just take what's mine and expect everything to go back to normal. I'm going to make sure they know that there are consequences for what they've done. Going to go to the pawn shop. Jessica's voice was hesitant. I have to, I said, turning away, the determination setting in like steel. If I don't, then it's just going to keep happening. I'm vowing to let them get away with this. Jessica stood up, walking over to me. She put a hand on my arm. Grant, I know you're angry, but just be careful. This isn't just about the car anymore. It's about setting boundaries. About showing them that you matter too. I looked down at her hand on my arm, feeling a sudden wave of gratitude. I know, Jess. But I can't just let it slide. Not this time, I get it, she said, her eyes meeting mine. But you need to make sure you're doing this for the right reasons. Not just to get revenge, but to make things right. I exhaled sharply, letting her words sink in. She was right. This wasn't about vengeance, wasn't about making my family suffer. It was about showing them that I wasn't going to be taken advantage of anymore. That I wasn't going to keep letting them walk all over me. I'll make it right, I said, my voice steady. I'll get my car back. I'll make sure they know that this stops here. Jessica gave me a tight smile, but I could see the worry in her eyes. You'll have my support, whatever you decide. I nodded, feeling a strange sense of calm wash over me. For the first time in a long time, I knew what I had to do. I wasn't going to let anyone, family or otherwise, stop me. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door, my steps purposeful. It was time to fix this. It was time to take control. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but I wasn't afraid of the fight anymore. I wasn't going to let them take what was mine. And I wasn't going to let them make me feel like I was the one in the wrong for standing up for myself. This was my turning point. There was dumb being the responsible one, the one who always did the right thing and got nothing in return. This time, I was going to make sure I got what I deserved. And it started with the Shelby. The next morning, ankle gump with one goal in mind, to get my car back. Everything I'd done up to this point had led to this moment, and I knew there was no turning back. My parents had crossed a line, and I was done letting them dictate the terms of my life. I couldn't believe they thought it was okay to take something that wasn't theirs, something I'd worked my entire life for. I went straight to the pawn shop, my mind set. Liberty Pawn was a small, unassuming building tucked away in a corner of the city. It wasn't flashy, no neon signs or glitzy windows, but I knew it was exactly where my car was sitting. I could feel the adrenaline in my veins as I parked, walking toward the entrance with purpose. Inside, the air was musty, filled with the scent of old furniture and secondhand goods. A man behind the counter looked up at me as I stepped in, his face impassive. Can I help you? I'm here to talk about a 1967 Shelby 500. Well said, my voice firm. It was brought in recently. I need to speak with whoever's in charge. The man's expression shifted slightly, though he tried to hide it. You'll need to speak with Gerald, he said, nodding toward the back. I'll let him know you're here. I didn't wait. I walked to the back where a middle-aged man, probably in his late 40s, was sorting through paperwork. His face was lined with stress, and he didn't look like someone who dealt with high-stakes deals on a regular basis. I was here to get my car back. Gerald Wilson, I asked. That's me, he said, standing up and offering a handshake. What can I do for you? I'm here about the Shelby, I said, not wasting time on pleasantries. My car was brought here by my family. His eyes flickered, then he sighed. Look, I don't want any trouble, okay? The car's been brought in, the loan's been made, and we're just following the rules. I don't care about your rules, I snapped. That car belongs to me, and never gave permission for it to be used as collateral. My family took it without my consent. He blinked, his demeanor shifting. I understand your frustration, but we're a business. We made a loan in good faith, and the paperwork was signed. I gritted my teeth. I'm not here to argue the details. I'm here to take back what's mine. I'll pay off the loan. I'll pay whatever fees you've accrued, but I want that car back. Gerald hesitated, clearly uncomfortable. It's not that simple. The loan's still in progress. There's still interest to be paid, and the first payment was due last week. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my temper in check. How much? I asked. He pulled up the loan details on his computer, glancing at the screen. The loan was for $30,000. Here's a 20% interest rate, with monthly payments. The first one was due last Friday. You're looking at a total of $36,000 if you want to clear this today. I didn't blink, I was done waiting. I'll pay it, right now. Ro looked at me, surprised by my resolve. You sure about that? I can't just give the car back. You'll need to cover the fees, pay off the loan, and then we can discuss the car. Just tell me where it is, I said. I voiced Cole, I'll handle the rest. Gerald sighed and nodded, leading me to the back. There was a large storage area, filled with all sorts of goods, furniture, electronics, old jewelry. But at the far end, under a well-maintained cover, was my Shelby. Sitting there again, sitting kind of abandoned object, made my stomach turn. She wasn't just a car to me. She was my pride, my work, my success. And now she was being held hostage because my family couldn't respect boundaries. Ara walked over to the car and lifted the cover, revealing the pristine body of my 1967 Shelby. It looked almost untouched, aside from the layer of dust that had settled over her. But seeing her in this cold, sterile environment made my chest tighten with frustration. She's been well cared for, Gerald said, clearly trying to reassure me. I didn't respond. I just walked over and ran my hand over the hood, the cool metal beneath my fingertips, reminding me of everything I'd sacrificed to get here. It felt wrong, like a betrayal, to see her sitting here, locked away, linked to Gerald. I'll take care of the payment, I said, but I want her back now. Gerald hesitated. I can't give her to you until the loan's settled. That's the policy. I'm not asking, I said, my voice hard. You'll get your money. I'm paying it all right here, right now. I'm not leaving without my car. He nodded reluctantly. All right. Let's take care of the paperwork first. I'll go get everything sorted. As he walked away, I stood there, staring at the Shelby. The moment I'd been waiting for. The moment I took back control. The moment I got my car back and showed my family that I wouldn't let them push me around anymore. The feeling wasn't relief. It wasn't satisfaction. It was just a step forward. A small victory in a battle that had been years in the making. I was about to get back what was rightfully mine. And I was going to make sure they understood it would never happen again. I didn't know what I expected when I walked back into my parents' house. But it sure wasn't the scene I found. My mother was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables, humming softly to herself like everything was normal, while father was sprawled in the living room, watching the game. And well, she was there too, her usual self, scrolling through her phone like she hadn't just stolen the one thing that mattered to me. I stood there for a moment, taking it all in. The normalcy of it, the way they all acted like nothing had changed. Like everything was still in its place. But I wasn't about to pretend anymore. Timothy, you're back, my mother said, looking up with that forced smile of hers. You didn't say you were coming by. Let me get you a drink. I ignored her. Was my car? The words hung in the air, cold and cutting. My father looked up at me from the couch, his eyes narrowing. What do you mean, your car? I couldn't keep the sarcasm from my voice. Don't play dumb. My car, the one you took. He sighed, rubbing his temples like he was trying to hold back frustration. We already talked about this, son. No, I said, my voice steady, we didn't talk about this. He took my car, used it as collateral for Amanda's loan, and now you're pretending like it's no big deal. Amanda looked up from her phone, her face hardening. It's just a car, Timothy. You can always get another one. I couldn't help but laugh, a bitter, humorless laugh that echoed through the room. Just a car, you have no idea what you've taken, do you? It wasn't just a car, Amanda. It was everything I worked for. Everything I sacrificed, and you don't even care. She rolled her eyes. His family, like we sold it, okay, we're just using it temporarily. Once my boutique takes off, everything will be fine. You think I'm just supposed to sit back and let this slide? Let you use my property, my hard work, as a pawn in your little business scheme? I took a step forward, the anger building up again. You've always been the one to get everything handed to you. You never had to work for anything, Amanda. And had to fight for everything I've ever had, and now you're taking the one thing that was truly mine. My mother set down the knife she was holding, her face turning pale. Timothy, please. We didn't mean for it to go this far. We just wanted to help Amanda. She needs this. She needs more help than you do. I stepped back, my chest tightening. That's what you always say, isn't it? She needs more help than you. Well, I'm done being the responsible one. And helping her get out of every mess she makes. I'm done watching you enable her every time she fails. And I'm definitely done letting you take what's mine without asking. My father stood up, his voice low but firm. Now, Olunthi, we're family. We didn't mean to hurt you. No, I said, shaking my head, you didn't hurt me. You betrayed me. And it's not just about the car anymore. It's about you treating me like I don't matter. Everything I've worked for is less important than her dreams. Amanda opened her mouth to argue, but I didn't give her the chance. You've always been the golden child, haven't you, Amanda? The one who could never do anything wrong. The one who always got what she wanted. I've been the one who's worked for everything I've ever had. The one who had to make sacrifices, who had to figure it out on my own. But no matter what I do, it's never enough, is it? And Muller's eyes welled up, and I could see the guilt finally creeping in. But it wasn't enough. Not this time. I'm not going to let this slide. I'm going to get my car back, no matter what it takes. And when I do, we'll know exactly what it means to cross a line. I've already told you, my father said, his voice rising, that we're going to make this right. Amanda is going to pay us back. Pay you back? I repeated, incredulous. You think I want money? I want my car. I want a thing that represents everything I've worked for. Not your apologies, not your justifications. Timothy, my mother whispered, her voice shaky, I'm sorry. We didn't think it through. We thought we were helping Amanda. But we never meant to hurt you. I looked at her, but I couldn't bring myself to say anything else. The words felt hollow now. The apology didn't change anything. It didn't bring back what they'd taken. I turned toward the door. I'm going to get my car back, I said, my voice hard with resolve. And if you don't understand why that matters, then maybe that's something we need to talk about when I'm not so angry. My father didn't stop me this time. He didn't try to explain or defend his actions. They knew what they had done. And in that silence, in the absence of their excuses, I knew that whatever came next, it wasn't just about getting my car back anymore. It was about reclaiming myself, my boundaries, my life. I left the house without another word, the weight of what had happened still pressing down on me. But there was no turning back now. I wasn't going to let them take any more from me. And I wasn't going to let them win. The days passed slowly, each one dragging its feet, but I stayed focused on the task ahead. I'd made my demands clear, and now it was just a matter of time. My family had agreed to the repayment plan, but I knew that didn't mean it was over. Not by a long shot. The damage was done. Trust was shattered, and while the money would be returned, I wasn't sure how anything could ever truly go back to the way it was. I kept my distance from my parents, not returning their calls, not responding to their messages. Had tried to apologize, tried to make excuses, but it didn't matter anymore. The hurt was too deep. The betrayal ran too far. Instead, I spent my time focused on what I could control. The car was back in my hands, and that was something. As I looked at her, sitting there in my garage, I realized she wasn't just a car anymore. She was a symbol, a reminder of what I'd lost and what I was finally willing to fight for. Jessamine is the only constant through all of this. She was my sounding board, the one person who never judged me, who always understood. She never once told me to let it go. Nankel once suggested that I needed to forgive too soon. She was there day in and day out, supporting me while I figured out the next step. And a few weeks after the car was back in my garage, Jessica and I sat on the back deck, the setting sun casting a warm glow over everything. It was quiet, peaceful. But there was still an edge to the air. I need a feeling about all this, she asked, her voice gentle. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the horizon, trying to put my thoughts into words. I don't know. I got the car back, but it's like everything that led up to this still lingers. I can't shake the feeling that nothing will ever be the same again. Jessica reached over and took my hand. You're right. It won't be the same. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe this is your chance to rewrite the rules. You need it for your family. I looked at her, her eyes steady and knowing. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can ever forgive them for what they did, for using me the way they did. She nodded slowly. You don't have to forgive them right away. But you have to forgive yourself. For letting it go on for so long, for thinking you had to put everyone else first. I sat in silence, her words sinking in. She was right. I'd spent my whole life thinking I had to be the responsible one, the one who always did the right thing. And somewhere along the way, I'd lost sight of what that really meant. And wasn't about being the perfect son or the perfect sibling. It was about standing up for myself, about knowing my own worth. I'm not doing this for them anymore, I said quietly. I'm doing it for me. I'm setting my boundaries, and I'm not going to let them cross them again. Jessica smiled, squeezing my hand. That's all you can do. And that's enough. The next day, my parents called again. I knew it was coming, but this time, I wasn't going to let it be like before. I answered the phone, the weight of it all pressing in on me. Timothy. My mother's voice crackled through the line. We've been thinking about everything. And we want to make things right. We know we've hurt you, and we want to fix it. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. It's not that simple, Mom. You can't just fix this with money. You can't just fix it by giving me my car back. This goes deeper than that. There was a pause on the other end, and I could almost hear her trying to find the right words. What do you want us to do, Timothy? How can we make this right? I don't know if we can, I said, but I know I need space. I can't to figure this out. I can't just pretend like nothing happened. My mom's voice softened. We understand. But please know that we're sorry, and we're trying to be better. We're trying to understand. I closed my eyes, handling a weight lift off my shoulders. I didn't need their approval. I didn't need their apologies. What I needed was to move forward, to stop holding on to the past. I'll think about it, I said finally, my voice calm but firm. But this is going to take time. For all of us. And I calmed up. I felt strangely at peace. The world hadn't changed overnight, but I had. I wasn't the same person I had been before. I wasn't the same person who let others walk all over him, and wasn't the person who let his family define his worth. I was starting to see things clearly for the first time. I had set my boundaries. I had fought for what was mine, and that was enough. Now, it was up to them to prove they could meet me halfway. To prove they were willing to respect me as much as I respected myself. But even if they didn't, I knew I could stand on my own. The Shelby was back. And so was Ike.